Welcome to Wayward Writers. I'm senior literary agent and author Heather Cashman.
I'm author and writing coach Stephanie Bearce.
And I'm author and writing coach Nicki Jacobsmeyer.
Our mission is to nurture and enrich established writers throughout their publishing journeys.
We welcome all genres, age groups, and publishing paths through video podcasts, online webinars, in-person retreats, and more.
We're here to help you conquer your path.
We're excited to have this episode on artificial intelligence. This has been a topic we've been thinking about for a long time. Just a quick disclaimer here that we are not endorsing any of the platforms that we talk about. We are not endorsing you using AI. This is just a conversation that we want to have with you, our listeners, because it's something that's out there, whether you like it or not. Love to have this conversation with you and hear from you after the podcast too, either in comments or through email, how you're feeling about AI. So, Nicki and Stephanie, how are you feeling about AI? Nicki, can you tell us how you're feeling about it?
I'm dumbfounded in a way. I'm not surprised. I think this has been on the horizon for a while. I think it has crept its way into publishing, again, whether we like it or not. From a creative perspective, I think that it's not the same. I personally don't want to read books that are written by computers. I enjoy the human element, the connection that I can make with other readers, with that writer. So, in that sense, I think that although AI is going to be used, might be successful, is being successful in certain avenues, people and readers still want that community and that connection with other people. So I guess I'm open to just learning more, right? Knowledge is power. And I know some, but I don't know enough. And I think often I'm naive to what's being used out there. And I think sometimes it can be a substitute for hard work because the work's hard. It's really hard. It's very fulfilling, but it can be challenging. And I think sometimes it's used as a tool. So I don't know. Stephanie, what do you think?
I consider myself AI curious. There's just so much information and so many changes coming so fast that even though I try and listen to podcasts and kind of play with some different things, I find it very hard to keep up with the rate of change that's going on and the rate of adaptation that different companies are using it. I know just even my daughter, who's an architect, they use AI now to do a lot of their descriptions for their building promos and different things like that. I know it is in general use. I talk to a lot of people who use it in their business on a very regular basis. And I've talked to authors who are using it. And I know it's there. And I play with it. I've played with quite a few. I've played with GPT chat. I've played with Perplexity, and I use Grammarly. And I think sometimes we forget that Grammarly and Google and all of those are using AI too. So we're using AI on a regular basis. But I guess I'm curious as to really how is this going to impact authors and writing and book sales? And I don't have any answers. Do you, Heather? Do you have any answers?
I don't. I guess I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. So I do see how people can use it in many ways to make things more efficient. No doubt it can be used to make things more efficient. I think the way I feel about it is efficient better. For an example, I see the Amish community, and they're some of the happiest people I know in the entire world, and they are not efficient. And that's okay. That is the way of life that they have chosen, and it's a beautiful way of life, and I 100% respect it. So to me, that's what this is. It's also this conundrum of where does the human part of us stop and say it's okay. Like, where is that line?
Yeah.
Where's the humanity and all of the things that we do? I have talked to a lot of people about AI, and some of them say, I use it as a secretary. And then other people are like, my job was a secretary and
Mm.
I like being a secretary and that's what I want to do. And now AI has replaced my job. So I think that however you're feeling about AI, it's valid. And I don't think anyone should shame anyone else for how they're feeling about AI. I also know that there are people who wouldn't, because of socioeconomics, be able to do certain things. Like, there are some authors who just don't make enough money to pay for an audiobook narrator.
Mm-hmm.
And so they are using AI to narrate their
Sure.
books. Am I going to shame them? No, I'm not. I think that if you're morally opposed to that, then that's fine. Again, I think that there's so many ways to feel about it, and my husband's not worried about it. I'm really worried about it. My son refuses to use it, but at the same time, people don't realize that we've been using AI for many years.
Mm-hmm.
AI is in Word, AI is in Adobe Acrobat, AI is in a lot of programs that we never really knew that they were in. Anyway, it's very complicated in my opinion, and I think that people just need to be open and patient as we all navigate it.
Yeah, and something you brought up, you talking about efficiency, made me think of how much of our work as authors is the process. It's not
Yes,
the end point, right? It's the
right.
grueling out of mapping out your novel, and are the threads coming up enough in it? Are these points being hit? And if a program, if you can ask it that and it gives you the answer, what might you be losing along the way? What other things might you learn? What character is going to tell you, nope, no, I'm really going to do this? And I never really thought about how the efficiency could be a problem until you brought that up, Heather.
Yeah, I really think it could be. And I think that in writing, you write so much to a theme. Even though I think writers don't really realize it
Mm-hmm.
as they're writing, they are writing to a theme because their emotions are coming out on the page whether they like it or not. Their subconscious is coming out onto the page whether they like it or not. And then at the end, you get there. And I remember reading Stephen King's book on writing, and he said he would just spell out his first draft. And then he would go back and say, oh, this is what this book is about. How can we do that if we're
Mm-hmm.
having AI plot our books for us? I don't think we can. Maybe that's not your point. Like, maybe your point of writing books is something completely different. I don't know. But it is a fine line of where we lose our humanity and also our skill. Like,
Yes.
are we losing, and I believe we are, losing our skill, or eventually we will, to do certain things if we let AI just constantly do those things for us. If you're a mom and you never let your kid sweep the floor, or every time your kid tries to sweep the floor, you take the broom away and say, this is how it's done, they're never going to learn to sweep the floor. And I think that's kind of what AI might be doing to us as a society.
I think part of what is hard is that we don't know. This is
Yeah.
one of those industrial revolution moments where we don't know how things are going to come out at the other end. And it was scary. And people did lose jobs. And
Yeah.
there are things that were lost in the industrial revolution. Handcrafting is much less, although a handcrafted wooden piece of furniture is very valuable now. And so I wonder if some of that will happen in the future where it is bespoke writing and completely
Mm-hmm.
humanly crafted. I don't really know where it's going to go. The thing that I keep telling everybody is that I don't think it's helping any of us to put our heads in the sand and pretend it's not there and go, "Nah, nah, nah," um,
Right.
Oh, definitely not.
because
Nope.
No,
because
because it
it
is
is
there.
here. We are using
Yeah.
it, and it's trying to figure out what's next.
Right.
And it is being used in publishing. Let's be clear. Like, even in trade publishing, it is definitely being used.
How
I
so,
know,
Heather?
well, I have talked to editors who use it for jacket flap copy to write it. Of course, they go back and edit it, right? They're not
Sure.
just having the AI write the whole thing, but they use it to find comparable titles. They use it to find ways to pitch it to their sales teams. And sales and marketing uses AI sometimes for coming up with promotional copy. I know that there are publishers who are using AI narrators now. There are publishers that are doing AI book covers now. And
Yeah.
and more, I'm sure. This isn't just spell check on Word anymore. This is
I feel like I know one of the sore spots for me, I don't know if it is for you two or those of you listening, but it's the job replacement, the skill replacement. Like, instead of hiring and paying a designer or an illustrator, now we
mm-hmm.
don't have to spend money, or we're just spending money on a software, and someone else's book's going to be on the shelf instead of yours, because even though you wrote yours from your brain and your skill set, a computer essentially wrote this one, and it's taking up space on the shelf. And I know for me, I that's the part where it makes it feel like a negative. And I know that's not right. Like, there are positives to AI, and I've used them for positives in my life. So I don't know. What do you guys
What?
think about that? Are we out of
I don't think so. I do think that there are some positives that if you really do some research into it, one of the positives is the availability of interpreting books into multiple languages and into languages that have very few audiobooks and where there's a
Mm,
low rate of literacy. So,
yes.
books can be translated into languages that it is not profitable for large publishers to translate them into, and can be done inexpensively and then provided to countries and to people who could not have those books any other way. And I do know that is happening in different countries where they're gaining access through audio books that are AI translated and AI recorded. So
That's amazing.
that's an amazing and wonderful
Yeah,
thing that we can do, that's providing literacy and learning opportunities where there weren't before, where it was not financially viable.
and
That's what gets me.
specifically
It's like some of those things that can be really good mixed with the things that are scary and that we're not going to have any jobs
sure.
anymore.
but specifically doing it because it was not financially profitable for the publishing
Yes,
house.
yes. Yeah.
I think that's a huge distinction. For me, that's a slippery slope because what it does, I am all for literacy. Please don't get me
Oh,
wrong.
no, I understand.
But some of my clients are translators and they don't get paid very well. I'll just say it.
I am sure.
Just like everyone in
Yeah.
publishing. And
It's wood.
again, it's a slippery slope because once you do it for the good
Hmm.
cause, then like where's the publisher's not going to be held accountable. I guess
Yeah.
that's also what I struggle with all the time, is that my job as an agent is to hold publishers accountable to my authors
Yeah.
because they are always trying to push the envelope. And this AI, I think, is something that is like the Industrial Revolution. This is a revolution that's happening. And the thing is that it's happening because there are no laws and because there are no permissions needed. It's let's ask forgiveness rather than permission later on, and oops, that was already done. Oh, and it's that's the part that's scary to me,
Yeah.
is the accountability and the fact that the almighty dollar runs so much of the corporate trade publishing. I don't know. I should get off my high horse now.
No, I agree
And
with that. And I think that's the issue for me too. It's like like anything, it can be used for good and it can be used for evil. And we're not making conscious decisions all the time about which one we're choosing. Now, when I was listening, I think it was on NPR that I heard the story about the translations and how it was actually beneficial. It's something I had never even thought of. But how do you balance that? And are we even trying to balance it? And how much is everyone paying attention to what's going on? So that's why I wanted to talk about this today. It's just, I think we as authors really need to be engaged in making these decisions. And like I said, not putting our head in the sand and letting everything happen around us. I think we need to have our voices heard. How do we want this to go? I know there are so many of us who have books out, and I just went on and looked because you can go and look up how many of your books or which books are being used to train. I have 27 of my books are used to train AI.
Yep.
And how
do you feel about that, Stephanie?
Like everybody else, you never saw it coming because some of the books, it's like there was no AI. Now I know we have clauses in our contracts for AI, but there's no compensation for any authors whose work has been used.
And it's not like you can untrain them.
No, you can't say, could you pull all the Stephanie Bearce ones out, please?
And think about all the research you did for just one book.
For everyone. For everyone.
And
but
now someone doesn't have to do that.
It's also style. So there are a lot of issues in it. But so what I'm doing is I'm trying to educate myself. And like I said, I'm playing with the tools to see what are they actually capable of? Can I really write a good novel with AI? I don't think I can. It wouldn't be anything that I would want to send to Heather. Not that she would take it. I think no, right?
I'm not sure Heather would want to receive that either.
I know she would.
She's grateful. She's like,
grateful. Can you tell I wrote this with AI? But
that's another question. Can you tell?
It's very interesting that you asked that because a while ago, I could definitely tell. Like maybe a year ago, it was so obvious.
Okay.
Just, you can hear voice.
Yeah. Sure.
Right? And it was just not right. Like, word usage would just be a little bit weird, or sentence structure would be a little bit weird. It just was more of an instinctual feeling, I guess. But also, like, it was pretty obvious early on. Now it's getting harder and harder to tell. And there are times that I think what people are doing more now too is having the AI write it, and then they go back and edit it and then just claim it as their own writing. But even still, like, you can just feel this kind of clunkiness underneath. But I'm telling you, it is not far in the future that I think we're maybe not going to be able to tell. Because the rate
gives me shivers.
Is so quick. The rate of learning is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? Do you think books on the shelf should be labeled they're AI generated by so-and-so and AI?
Or AI assisted or something like that. We could put that designation.
Well, I can't remember her name at the moment, but somebody who won a sci-fi fantasy award last year admitted to using AI, and she's like, well, it was maybe 5%.
Yeah.
And it was a great book, and it was 95% not AI, and she worked really hard on that book, and I'm sure that I'm not judging her. But again, where's the line? Right? Like, is it 5% AI? Is it AI assisted? Is it, that's just so close.
And what is which? Because
is it AI
I'm telling you right now, Grammarly is my best friend. So maybe 20% AI with just Grammarly going through.
I've used it also. That's like when you go to Word and you do spell check. I know it does a little more. I get that. But it's not, give me a opening sentence for a sci-fi romance. Go. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's reshaping, it's editing what you've written. It's not creating words, unless Grammarly's changed since I last used it.
You can have it rewrite
Yes,
stuff.
it is.
You can have it rewrite.
Gives significant suggestions.
Yeah, it'll make significant. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
Stephanie has a crappy business letter and AI could fix it for her. Do I let it?
Yeah.
No, because it doesn't always have
Yes,
it doesn't have my
will
voice. I have certain things that are in my voice that
Right.
people are going to recognize. Oh, wow, Stephanie's become very formal in her writing now, and she never was before. But
Right.
Mhm.
No, that's a good
could.
point. It's like that commercial. I don't know if it's an Apple commercial or whatever, but it's the AI intelligence in the phone. And it is a business setting. And this guy writes this email that sounds like he's completely
together,
never been in a business sentence. And then he AIs it and he looks sharp.
Mhm.
And it drives me crazy personally as a business professional, because I'm like, I worked really hard to speak professionally and to learn business techniques and get a degree and all those things. And I'm like, this guy is lazy at his desk and he just pushes a button. And
Yeah.
on the other hand, I have talked with authors who are using it, and they will say that it really helps their creativity. So I've talked to authors who are using it to help them with brainstorming.
Okay,
just
talk about that.
Brainstorming ideas, like using it. One of the things, okay, I'm terrible at titles, and in my critique group, we were talking about titles and whether you could try it with GPT chat. Say, give me 50 terrible titles, because that's what we usually do. Come up with 50 terrible titles.
Right.
And then piecemeal together parts of it. And that works. That kind of brainstorming thing. And I've talked to authors who they're stuck and they'll brainstorm with it. I'm stuck in this part of my novel.
Yeah.
What are 15 different things that could happen? And maybe they don't choose any of them, but it gets them out of that stuck portion.
I gotcha.
Okay, so yesterday, because I knew we were getting this, I went on to ChatGPT and I just asked it, can you help me brainstorm some unique ideas for picture books? Okay. And this is what it came up with.
Yes.
Absolutely. Here's a list of unique picture book ideas that play with structure, themes, character, or point of view, many of which can be adapted for humor, emotion, STEM, SEL, or poetic tone, depending on your style and goals. Unexpected points of view. And then it gives me all like 3 different ideas. The to-do list of a tree narrates its seasonal goals, grow leaves, host squirrels, survive storms with comic, poetic tone. Now, if I asked it to, it would write this book for me. Of course, then I would have to go and I could change the tone. It would rewrite it for me as many times as I wanted, perfecting the tone, perfecting the whatever. And then I would have a picture book. Now, let's be honest, this is just something that you can do. And it literally took seconds for it to come up with a list of, let's see here, 16 picture book ideas. And then it asked me at the end, would you like to explore any of these further, or would it help to tailor ideas based on your personal themes or goals?
Yeah.
Right? So then
I mean, it's brilliant. It is brilliant. Now I want to know the to-do list of a tree or how a moon got fired. Like, my curiosity is piqued for sure.
Yeah. My shadow quit.
But
Grandpa's beard has a secret world.
Okay, except that makes me think, because I know about a book about the day my shadow quit. So are they just pulling stories?
Correct.
And
they're not unique.
I know a book about when the moon got fired. They're old.
Sure, possibly.
They're old. So they're pulling. They're not unique.
So they're old, though, because you could go. So I think this is one thing, if you are using AI, like, you've got to go check it too, because one of the things that I read in all of my research for AI is that AI hallucinates.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
And the more powerful it becomes, the worse the hallucinations
That's interesting.
are.
There's a picture book for you. The day
There's
AI hallucinates.
Every day.
4 adults, 4 grown-ups.
It does. And I have to say, what I have used AI the most for that I have found helpful, and I will be
Yeah.
freely admit that I use it for research,
Yes.
because using Google, it'll get me to one place. But if I'm using like Perplexity, it for me has been really good because it will help me get to the scientific citations, so the white pages, faster. And on Google, I know lots and lots of prompts to get Google there, but I don't have to go down levels with it. Perplexity, I can say, I want the white papers for da 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 in this journal and within this time frame and da 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 da, and get me those. And it is so much faster. Now, I'm still doing the research because I'm the one that's reading the white pages, although it will give me a summary of them so I'll know which ones I don't need to use. If you're doing something that you're doing really in-depth research on, for me, it's been wonderful. It's a shortcut for me of getting the sources that I need to read to inform myself. So I use it. I use that. It is, oh my gosh, it's so wonderful. It does save me time. Now I'm still doing all the research and reading everything because I want that knowledge. But man,
well, it's like comp titles. You know what I mean, like that's a great. What are some comp titles for a book about this? But then you have to go get those comp titles. You read them and make sure that they are similar, but yet ideas unique.
And that's what I was going to say. The hallucinations, you have to check to make sure that it has not hallucinated that white paper, because I have had that happen. It doesn't exist. Oh,
yes, you do.
You cannot trust it. It is not trustworthy. You think Wiki's not trustworthy? Yeah. AI is not trustworthy. You got to check it out. It can be it's your unreliable narrator friend.
You can also use it for really tedious tasks. These are all my resources. Could you please put them in standard format so that I can put them at the end of my proposal? Well, and that's really handy and saved me like 5 hours.
Yeah, or use it as a thesaurus, right? What is another way of saying whatever?
Yeah.
This word. Don't you think though, okay, so say I decide I'm going to have AI write my novel, and then I go in and some changes here or there so I can say it's AI assisted. Don't you think at some point in the process between submitting it to an agent or editor and it being on the shelf, I might hit a roadblock because I did not write the novel, whether it's in revision or promotion? Do I know it the way I would have known it if I would have written it? And this is not me really doing this, folks.
Okay.
I have turned in books, gotten it back bound and everything, and I'll go in and I'll read. It was like, wow, that's really good. They must have really edited the heck out of me. I'll go back and look on what I wrote and say, oh, I wrote that.
Yeah, so, I get that.
So I don't always remember exactly what I wrote. I'm like, wow, the editor really fixed that up. And they're like, oh, I actually wrote it. So
say your novel, you're in the middle of revisions with your editor, and your editor's what motivates Cindy Lou Who? And if you haven't spent enough time in the process of getting to know Cindy Lou Who, you might be in trouble. Maybe not. Maybe it's going to get to the point where you're not going to be. But
that is an excellent point, Nicki. It's because you are so intimately bound to, like, you can tell exactly what so-and-so is going to say because you've researched that character so much, or they're so much a part of you, really.
You're just not going to be as immersed in the project.
Yes. Heather, yes, that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think there'll be a different connection possibly when you go to promote that book too. Like, people want to know, what was your process like? What did you come across that was interesting, whether it's fiction or nonfiction? There's that human element that even if it feels like it goes away for a while, like you were talking about, like a handmade chair, right? During the Industrial Revolution. Like now it's like it went back. Now I want a handmade chair. I don't want one that a million other people can have.
And people are willing to pay for it because
it's art.
Yeah.
Everyone take a minute. What we do is art.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So complicated.
It
I don't
is.
think I
Thank you
have an
for
answer.
validating.
My answer for me is I am going to just keep playing with it because I think I need to know, but there are so many ethical gray areas right now. I think the
Mm-hmm.
best way to protect myself as an author is to be as aware as I can of what's going on. So I'm trying to listen to different podcasts, read information, Substacks, just anything, and then play with tools that don't cost me money because I'm cheap.
And
And
I
just
think
so
the
that I can
line,
make intelligent decisions and have intelligent conversations with people about what the future might hold.
and I think the line is different for every person.
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a very personal issue that I think we are all struggling to wrap our heads around. And that's why I think, yes, believe what you believe and stand for what you stand for 100%. But I have an author friend who, she is lower socioeconomic status. She is a self published author. She cannot afford to have her audiobooks narrated.
Mhm.
That's just reality.
Yeah,
So if she doesn't use AI, then she can't
right.
afford it. I just don't feel like I can say anything about that. I don't feel like I can judge her for doing
No,
that
and
when
No.
there is no other way for her books to
right.
get out
And
there.
she's getting a story out the way that she can. And audio is the way a lot of people are able to consume.
And it's
I
her
have friends and know
story.
kids who are dyslexic, and audiobooks have been the greatest gift in the world for them.
Right.
And so getting that out there is
But
important.
she wrote the story.
Owns it.
But there are
Right.
different, I guess to me, there are
Yes.
different components. Maybe people are going to have to
Agreed.
use each different component that they need, because I have a friend who is an author, and she has some mental health issues, as many of us authors do, let me tell you.
Yes.
We have to take care of our mental health. And she has found that using GPT chat can get her over the hump sometimes on those bad days where she would not be writing at all. I really do think it has to be very individual. And maybe we just have to we're all in learning mode and accept that we're
Yeah.
all in learning mode right now.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay, so how about we chat about some of the writing and brainstorming tools that are out there?
Sure.
The
Just
one
maybe a
I'm
brief.
most familiar with is ChatGPT.
Mm.
That's the one I use like in my personal life for things. As far as writing, I'll use it for brainstorm for a thesaurus, as far as what's a different way to say a word or
Yeah.
something like that. That's been the extent that I use it, but I do like it because it's for me user friendly. I don't know tech. I try to learn and I do the work, but I'm not good at it. But when it's free, at least the part I pay for or don't pay for, the program I have. And you if you have a login, it saves it. So I don't need to save what I think in another document. What have you guys used?
I've used quite a few. Like I said, I've used a lot of them for research to see which ones perplexity. I've tried just about every one of the research ones. I have played with GPT chat and Claude. They run very differently. So I do see why people try different models. They're good for different things. Like I have used one of the things that I have used them both for, Claude and GPT chat, is helping me to write lesson plans. Now, I have the core, I list out the things that I want in it so that it has this is the activity, this is what we're learning, all of that kind of stuff. But they do a good job in formatting it for me, which saves me hours and hours of time formatting and typing it out. But they're different. And so I do find it interesting to play with different large language models to see what the results are when you feed them the same information, and
Mm.
they'll hallucinate differently, and you really do have to check them.
So some of the brainstorming tools that we mentioned was ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini.
Mhm.
And you said one that you use for research. What was it called, Stephanie?
Perplexity.
Heather, is there something that you know about with drafting or prose or
I'm
anything?
really So, years and years ago, I found the software called Pro Writing Aid.
I played with that.
And I used it for a while. And it was interesting because I feel like it helped me for a little bit to learn when I was using repetitive words, or learn when I was using a lot of passive voice. It'll search for that. It'll show you all these amazing things about, are your sentences like varied in length, and that kind of thing. It was weird though, because I feel like I outgrew it over time as I was an editor, which I never ever used Pro Writing Aid for editing other people's stuff, by the way. It was all for my own writing. But yeah, I think that I got just naturally good at finding it on my own after a while, that I never really,
It's almost like a
I just kind of
tutorial.
stopped using it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a trainer.
I have found that with Grammarly.
Mechanical.
I am better.
Yeah.
I'm not great, but I am better than I used to be at finding my own mistakes because of having Grammarly point them out to me. So
Yeah.
it is a learning tool.
I have used ChatGPT a little bit, mostly just because I'm trying to familiarize myself as an agent when I'm looking at queries. I'm trying to see, like, what is it really capable of? What is it really going to look like if I get a query in that was done with AI? Because I want to know. I want to know if I can tell if something's written with AI or whatever.
This is a little off the subject, but is there a tool out there, do you know, that can tell you if it's AI written? Is there something you can run something through and check it and say, is this AI written?
That's a great
I have heard of programs like that, but I have never personally used them. I got some emails in my inbox for people who are trying to develop tools like that and wanted me to purchase their tool, and I was like, no.
We check it out for you for free.
Yeah. We are frugal here at Wayward Writers.
We have to
join us. Join us. We are artists that are frugal. Sound familiar? They are synonyms. Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting, though, that I'm sure there will, obviously, people are working on it for there to be a program.
Oh, absolutely.
Here's a question that's, since we talked about, as a reader, say a new author comes out and you fall in love, and then you find out it was AI written. How do you feel?
I want you to write that book for me, Nicki.
How do you feel? Okay, I'm on it. I'll put it in the queue, Heather. How do you feel as a reader?
I don't know. It depends on whether, if it's a great book, I probably won't care. I don't know. I need to see the book.
Oh,
okay. So
I have to admit,
you've paid $29.99 for the hardback.
Well, I'm not paying $29 because you know me, I'm going to the library. So, because we're frugal and cheap.
I have to admit, I would feel betrayed.
I would feel
too.
Betrayed.
I guess if it had somebody's name on it, that's what I'm saying. If it has somebody's name on it and they're claiming, but
you can nickname your ChatGPT anything you want.
You don't think people are You don't think people are like, I've always wanted to write a book.
I didn't do that.
I'm going to write a book. And because that's what I want. And they make up their name.
So my ChatGPT is named Stephanie Bearce. Is that?
Yeah, I'm just saying. How many people, no matter what the craft is, it's not just writing, anything. I've always wanted to write a book. Now I have AI. So now I'm going to go have AI write my book. I'm going to either get a traditional publisher or I'm going to indie publish or whatever. And then AI is going to create the cover. AI is going to edit. AI. I'm going to call my name Art Intel. That's by Art Intel. And you go to the store and you buy a book for $29.99 plus tax. You read the book and you find out Art Intel. Anyone out there that's Art Intel, this is totally not you. I'm just making stuff up. You find out that that someone had a computer do all of it. AI did all of it. How do you feel as a reader? As a consumer?
I guess it depends on how good the book is.
That's a fair answer.
If it's a really great book and the start of a series and there's going to be a ton more, I might be happy. But I won't
And-
pay
Well, and-
$29.99 for the book.
Okay, let's be honest. There are people out there who use ChatGPT as a sincere friend.
Yeah.
There are people I know. Okay, these are people I know of who, when they have a problem, they go to ChatGPT and they pour their heart out to ChatGPT the way I do to God, and they talk about it and use ChatGPT as their personal therapist, their personal friend, their personal problem solver. When someone is connecting that deeply to an AI, like essentially program, a computer program, then they are not going to care if the book was written by AI. They're not going to care. They see them as an entity.
Sure.
And I think that it is the individual. Like, everyone is going to have a different line. Everyone is going to have a different take. There are going to be people who would pay $29.99 for a book because it was written by AI.
That's true.
Right. And I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer. And I guess for me personally, I'm fine and I might buy that book and I might buy all the books in the series, but I would want to know personally, as a reader and a consumer, this was made by AI.
Yes.
I'm not saying, I think as a consumer and a reader that I want to know that.
I wonder if that will change over time, just like in manufacturing.
Sure.
I don't know.
Because
Maybe.
it becomes, I don't know. It will be interesting
commonplace.
to see because it may be very commonplace. I don't know the future on that, but I can tell you right now that my favorite authors just don't write fast enough right now.
No, I agree.
Speaking of someone who writes, I'm like, I want the next one in that series.
But that is the anticipation too. It's like television now. Like my kids are like, oh, I'm just going to binge watch. And I'm like, I had to wait 7 weeks. I had to wait an entire summer to find out what happened on that show. Yeah. The anticipation made the show better.
No, binge watching is pretty good too.
But it's a different experience, right? It's a different experience.
It is.
And I agree with you. Like this is, it's going to change.
Different experiences for different people and maybe for different times. Maybe sometimes you're going to want that experience and sometimes you want something different.
Yeah, I enjoy binge watching too. If you only got so much time, that fits the bill for sure. Yeah. It's interesting, right? Yeah. And it's fun that we talked about it. We want to hear what you all think about it. Reach out. We're a community and we want to learn what ways you've used it that have been helpful or not, or it's ever evolving.
It is.
And we will be having more episodes on things like copyright, consent issues, and things like that in the future. So come join us. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Wayward Writers.
Let's connect. Find us at waywardwriters.com, X, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook.
See you next time. Conquer your path.